Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are all slaves of time, slaves to time. Even we here on this wonderful evening, having a wonderful time, and yet you keep hearing that bell, and I am a slave to it. And unfortunately, via me, you are a slave to it. And that's just something we take for granted until and the point at which somebody appears and very articulately and very convincingly tells us that no, we can have a relationship of equals with time. Who is this person? That is a very interesting question. To my mind, he is a master of many trades. He started off as a theatre actor, had a wonderful, highly accomplished, flourishing career in cinema, and went on to become a motivational speaker. However, along the way, he also did writing, he also did television, he also did photography, he also did social work, and he always did a lot of introspection. In fact, it is introspection that has fueled his constant reinvention. And it is constant reinvention that underpins the story of his life. The story, vignettes from which we are going to be hearing today. He has kindly consented to be here with us to give us a glimpse of that richly and rigorously lived life. And I ask you please to join me in welcoming Ashish Vidyarthi.
Pragya. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Now, for most interviews, I ask people about 20 questions to get them to perhaps show us who they really are. Because you're such a complex and intriguing man, I'm going to be straight up and ask you, who are you?
I am my Aadhaar. So it's so interesting, Pragya. Actually, what you ask is, it does stump people, and it stumps me also. But what's interesting is that each one of us wants to know who that person is. And more importantly, we also want to know who we are. And typically, we have a certain square hole in which we want to fix anyone. And very difficult if I say I'm a father, or if I say I'm a son, or if I say I'm a friend. You know, it'll be better if I fit into something and then you say, okay, got it. You know, I'm an actor. Okay, got it. It was not so. Years back, actor meant what actor? But what do you do? But now, still, there are still some more interesting square pegs which need to be fitted into square holes. So, I would like to imagine, like each one of us in this room, we are part of an interesting flow. And if we were not to answer people, then we will just say that I am what I'm doing right now because I am a father, and I am a husband, and I'm a film actor, and I am quite a few other things. But right now, I am the interviewee, and that's it. And I'm in front of an audience. And if we look at it, if we actually kind of see that each one of us is in an extraordinary flow, and all that we are committed to is to be amazing at what we are doing at that moment, then life is actually simple. Need not fit into anything.
You know, Ashish, everyone becomes what they are through a journey. And I believe that your mother was a dancer, she was a teacher. Your father was led a life that was committed to learning. He documented lesser known cultural practices across India. And somehow, from the outside, I see threads of their choices woven into the tapestry that you've made for yourself. Tell me a little bit about that childhood.
So Reba and Govind's son is right here. So it's an out-of-body experience. You know, something very interesting is that me being a film actor is never very far from who I am. And also, I'll never ever forget that I'm a child of two extraordinary people, and very many people will never know of. that's where the irony of life is, that we are all so attracted towards the glitz, just like just like the insects are towards light, the moth is towards light. We all are really drawn towards the brilliance, the STAR. Have you heard of that word, STAR? We either want to reach one or become one, yes or yes. And that's the irony of the thing, that each one of us have had some amazing parents who probably no one will ever know of. And yet we aspire to be someone that someone else would know. And we leave a whole lot of that. So for me, Ma Baba, Ma Reba Vidyarthi from Ajmer, Rajasthan, a Bengali, born into a zamindar family, Bengali zamindar family there, wanted to be a dancer. She wanted to learn Kathak. And her great-grandfather, her grandfather who was there, he said that in zamindar family, daughters don't become dancers. Dancers come home to perform. It's like that. So Ma promised him that she will never ever perform. She will only teach. And the interesting part was that he died much after, a little after she promised him that. But she never ever danced. She taught, and the topmost Lucknow Gharana students, Lucknow Gharana top performers that you see in Kathak have all spent at least 7 to 8 years with Ma at Kathak Kendra, because she was the student of Achan Maharajji and Shambhu Maharajji. And Birju Maharajji's children also initially learned from her. So the point is that, so here was one amazing person. And then my father, born in 1912 in Kerala, distant Kerala, was influenced by Vivekanand, started learning Hindi, and at some point read Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi's Mashal and changed his name to Vidyarthi, and then came down to Varanasi and learned Sanskrit, became a Shastri, but retained his Vidyarthi, became a freedom fighter, and then joined the Sangeet Natak Academy. And in that kind of a very interesting tapestry, so to say, I grew up an only child in Delhi. So when people ask me, where are you from? I ask them, do you have the time? Thanks to Algebra, I can tell you where I am from. But yes, it was a very interesting place where home was where friends came. And this is something interesting you may find interesting. So, being an only child, and especially an only child with very old parents. So I remember in Standard 7, I think I visited my friend's house from my school, and I met his grandparents. I was shocked. They looked like my parents. What's happening? And trust me, a whole lot of my childhood was driven by the fear that my parents will die and who will look after me. It doesn't sound very nice, but seriously, I was so scared that they were so old. What will happen to me if they die? It also meant that being an only child, I didn't have anybody to fight for me. I remember having fought with a friend and his sister came and scolded me. I said, I have no one to scold my friend. So what I did was that I started making friends. And each of those friends, I made them so deep that they became family. So that only child, probably a lonely child, still remains here, sitting right here on the stage, still making friends who are now family. So the only one thing which I would beg to slightly differ from you is that we haven't grown up. Have we? We carry a whole lot of our childhood with us, except that we don't show it. Because people have said that you've grown up. Yes or yes?
Well, lucky are those few who manage to live up to their name and surname. And you definitely have, like your father, remained a Vidyarthi. And one of your schools was the National School of Drama.
Yes.
The sort of altar of acting, if I might. And I've had the good or bad fortune of having met a lot of NSD alumni, and they all either have a love or hate relationship with that institution. How do you look back at NSD now? What did you learn? What did you unlearn?
Very, very difficult to say that. And in fact, that's true for each one of us. It's very difficult for us to say that how would life be without that university, without that relationship, without that years, because we are with. But I do remember National School of Drama for the first time gave me an opportunity to eat, drink, and sleep theatre. It was everything to do with theatre. There was nothing other than theatre. I would liken it a bit, and I remember that time I had given this thing to me, that for 3 years I'm going through a tunnel, okay? Except that tunnel would have jagged rocks. And as I was go through it, it will carve me. And somehow for me, those 3 years were just that period of which I really managed to break myself. And I think that's one habit that I retained since then, of ongoingly breaking myself.
Well, that's one thing that NSD can give you. But, we've heard of these journeys quite often, You go to NSD, which is in Delhi, which is a sort of ivory tower in a way of thinking, I'm being amongst high-minded people about acting and theatre and so on and so forth. And then because Delhi has not always had a very flourishing industry when it comes to work, people have to go to Bombay. And it's that sort of inevitable Diksha leke nikalna wali journey. What was on your mind when you were making that journey? Who were the kind of people you were looking at? And when you got to Bombay, and I don't even know what you make of this term, but it has to be asked because it's such an urban legend now. What were your struggle days like?
So we all know, right? We all know why actors become actors, right? To do different roles, to carve out different characters, to live many lives. We know that, right? Yeah, lie. Complete lie. It will not make good interview sense, but the actual answer is that when after National School of Drama, after the Mecca of theatre, one went down to Mumbai to feed my family, to get food on the table. So that's one of the ironies of life, that we want to put somebody on a pedestal and say, do you know that guy? He's very talented and poor. Because in our head, this guy, I'm sure you've heard this. People tell me, that guy kind of offers services, doesn't charge a single rupee. That guy is so good. So for years, just to let you know, like, what was I looking for in Mumbai? I was looking for producers who pay. And we have this beautiful notion that all of us want to feel good, feel wonderful, especially if you're an actor. When you're talented, then we love praise. You may have seen few actors who love praise, right? we kind of live for it. So I remember I learned very early on, these couple of producers who used to work with quite a few films, and they would put me here and they say, look at Ashish. Look at Ashish. You should learn from him. Such a good actor. Never talks about money. I would say, but I want to talk about money. Except that you don't let me talk about money. Because they told, look at him. See, the thing is that he's so, मतलब कमाल है यार, क्या काम करता है यार, और पैसा तुम लोगों की तरह पैसा नहीं करता वो. So I would have come to his office to ask for money, would say, नहीं मैं वो role के बारे में पूछने आया था, and go ahead. So you realize that how the wonderful world kind of puts you into a place, and then a couple of very interesting, without taking names. So at this very interesting producer, we were working with them, and they were living in a place in town, and I went and asked for money. They said, listen, we don't have money. I said, listen, you're at Churni Road, I'm at Yari Road, and I have to pay, which is like town and suburbs, and where I have to pay 1,500 rupees rent. So money is a huge leveler, Pragya. Huge leveler. And it just makes
makes you, for example, what I meant is that money allows you to realize. Any one of you have any idea about what's a free lunch? So a huge thing, once you leave home, you kind of realize that there are no free lunches. And I'll tell you an anecdote. I mean, few years back, we were in the island of Crete in Greece. And about 7, 8 years back, if you remember, there was a major meltdown which was happening. It still is happening, we don't come to know about it. So we are there, and our host, he is an architect. Sorry, he was an ophthalmologist, and we are with him, and his brother was an architect, and we were kind of sitting and chatting. And then I asked him, I said, what has happened? And he said, would you believe it, Ashish? He said that earlier, after 12th standard, students used to get, money for 3 years. That's been stopped. And then after graduation, people used to get money for another 3 years to find out what they want to do. That's been stopped. Then after people got a job and after they worked for 5 years, they got pension for a lifetime. Even that's been stopped. Now I'm at his house having coffee, and I said, really? Really? Now, it's so funny that when you're used to free lunches, you don't call it free lunches. Isn't it true? And that for me is at the key of any one of us who leaves home. We don't realize the free lunches and the wonderful atmosphere that you have at home till you leave home.
Ashish, you spoke about this big realization that comes out of your struggle. But it was also fairly early that you saw skyrocketing success with Drokal, and the kind of success that is, ticks all the boxes, right? You're working with this great director, you're making a film that's critically acclaimed, you are being lauded for your performance, it's also working, and so on and so forth. What was that experience like? Because a lot of people talk about the bitterness of struggle, but very few people can articulately talk about the pitfalls of success. And if anybody can, you can.
So let's go back. So I want to share about that morning when Drokal was releasing, or a week before that. So, we used to have these posters which used to be put on walls. And I remember there used to be this poster, there was, I think, 16 by 6 or something. And it was a rainy morning in Bombay, that time. And I see that poster at Juhu. And that same day, another young actor's film was releasing. And Anil Kapoor's younger brother's film was releasing that week. And my Hero Honda had a puncture that day. So as I was pushing my bike and I was looking at my poster, I was thinking that another person, probably through his glazed glass on his Mercedes, is looking at his poster. So welcome to real world. Cut to a year later when I won the national award, I was shooting for something in Filmalay. And I received a call saying that, Ashish, you got the national award. And I can't tell you what a feeling it is. It's unbelievable. And it's unbelievable. And I really want you to know the feeling. So I called up Govindji, and Govindji said, congratulations. We're going to have a party at mainland China. And mainland China at that point had one branch, only one thing, that was in Andheri East. And he said, go and book a table, go and book that place. So I finished my shoot. I don't know how I drove from Andheri West, Goregaon West to Andheri East. And I picked up a friend of mine, reached mainland China and booked one table. One table. Because I was thinking, how am I going to pay for that one table? The 5 people, if they come to congratulate me on having won the national award, how will I pay for it? I'm thinking of that. I book one table, Govindji walks in. He says, have you booked? I said, yes, Govindji, this table. He said, no, book this part. I looked at his hand. It moved from this table to that table to those tables. So I'm looking, I said, yeah, Govindji. So I go to those people, I said, भैया, इस पूरा को देख लेना, हमारे कुछ लोग आएंगे. Now, one after the other, very well-known people walked in. They were hugging me. They were doing this, they were saying this, and I was only worried about one thing. Are they going to stay for dinner? I'm not joking. And I discovered not only were they going to stay for dinner, they were also ordering drinks. And they were offering, and please get this, my Hero Honda parked outside, staying in a rented house, no money, about 3,000 bucks in my bank. People are ordering food. They're asking me, Ashish, what will you eat? I'm saying, I'm just full today. Whole day I was so excited. I just don't have a drink. I said, no, I don't drink. They're saying lemonade. I said, no, water. I didn't even want to spend that, 70 rupees for that? I said, no, water. And that entire evening, the who's who, the people who worked in that film, right from Amrish ji to Nasir bhai to Om ji to so many people came, wished me. But I had more than mixed feelings, Pragya. I was so worried. I can't tell you, I was sweating all the time. As the party ended, I walked up to Govindji and I said, Govindji, please don't mind. Today, if you pay, I'll just, in a few months, I'll just clear this. He looks at me and says, this is my party, Ashish. I said, Govindji. He said, what happened? I said, nothing. Whiskey. Whiskey ला और prawns चाहिए और कुछ हमें prawns चाहिए prawns चाहिए whiskey चाहिए rice को कुछ rice नहीं prawns लाओ और prawns लाओ और whiskey लाओ. I can't tell you, and that's why people, when they talk of success, the talk of success is so from outside. The talk of success and everything is so from outside. People just don't realize that actors and people who achieve something, each one of us is so human. We are so scared of life. That's why we end up wearing dark glasses in dark rooms.
So Ashish, everyone who's heard this wonderful story, you make this film, you win the national award, you have this grand party, you wouldn't blame them for thinking that here on life must have been a cakewalk, right? I mean, you must have got the roles and opportunities that you wanted and deserved, and you must have picked and chosen the ones that you really wanted to do. Is that how it went?
No, no. So welcome. See, the thing is, I'm probably going to be bursting a few balloons of what people would want to hear. The fact of the matter is, I was very lucky. I had this amazing acting guru, Pandit Satyadev Dubey, and who used to always tell me something very interesting. He used to say that, Ashish, so this is in preparation while we are preparing something. He would say, Ashish, people are going to be amazed by the magic, but for the actor, it is nuts and bolts. So if we look at it, people at some point get enamored by the celebrity. Can I tell you something very honestly? Being a celebrity or being made a celebrity is one of the most loneliest things in life. And I realized this very early in my life. So the last thing that I'll ever be, and I'll never be, I'll tell you, is ever be a celebrity. Therefore, you'll always find me around. The reason is, as in around people. Because celebrityhood is something which people put you on a pedestal. It's a bit like a coat hanger. You put them there and say, remain there. So, you go to the best eatery, which may be on the road, like this early morning, we were at Ryer's Mess. Have you ever been to the Ryer's Mess in Chennai? Mylapore? Tomorrow morning, please go there. Most amazing food, except 16 people in a room, etc. Absolutely street side food, but in a place. So as you go to a place and you would want to eat at such a place, somebody will just walk up and say, how come you're here? And you have to actually say, no, my Bentley broke down, that's why I'm here with my... And that's the scariest and saddest thing for people who reach a position, that we allow people to give us that sobriquet of being a celebrity, and therefore people have all the fun, and they say you can't be there. And I many years back said that this Reba and Govind's son is going to have an amazing time in life and try to do those amazing things that each one of us can do and yet be an extraordinary actor.
Talk about setting your own goals and then meeting them. Ashish, I want to ask you that obviously at this point in time, you sound so inspirational when you talk about your journey. But in that moment of success, was there a point of confusion? Did you ever feel like maybe this is going to my head at all?
Of course, and see, I personally believe, Pragya, that we as human beings are geared only to handle failure. We are not geared at all to handle any kind of success. Just consider this, a caveman, vegetarians, the cavemen went out to hunt. Okay, so Hyderabad is working. We are all non-vegetarians, a few vegetarians. So they went out to hunt, and guess how many animals did they hunt? Good for how many days? Any idea? 1 day, 2 days? 15 days? Couple of days, that's it. They didn't have refrigerator, right? So they had just about enough for the next 2 days, and then probably or 3 days, and then again they had to hunt. The point is that on the 4th day when they went out to hunt, were they sure to get another hunt? No. So we as human beings never had excess. We're just about enough or a little less. Success is that thing which is excess. And I've seen it repeatedly happening in my life, around me, that in fact in Hindi we have a term, it says, "Use success ho gaya hai." It's like malaria. And the terrible thing is that if you have malaria, can you do anything about it? Success is a bit like that. It hits you. And when it hits you, it's a bit like this. So typically when two people, they meet, they say, hi, how are you? If you're successful, people don't say, hi, how are you? They say, kal hi aapki baat ho rahi thi. Just last evening we were talking about you, sir. Too good, sir. Watched all your films, sir. And then you feel that, yeah, that guy spends his life watching my films. That guy just said another, so I'll share a very interesting story. We are shooting in Vizag. And, all of us actors, one of these actors, and his second film was releasing. And he walks up to me, Ashish, you know what? My film is releasing, and that guy's film is releasing. I walked into the airport, everyone was talking about my film. So morning handled it, afternoon handled, but evening I told him, I said, listen, who is going to walk up to you and talk about his film? Everybody who walks up to me says that they are my biggest fan, but doesn't mean they are my biggest fan. They just want a selfie, that's it. So we have to understand that people say certain things, we can't take it seriously, all right? Or isliye, I learned this amazing thing from my father. When I started earning money and then I got my first credit card, it was a Hong Kong bank credit card. And I took him to this swanky restaurant in Mumbai, which is, it kind of, what's it called? Somewhere in town. The Ambassador, I think. Yeah, Ambassador, I think, yeah. And, I had the chef, what he would have cooked inside, he was standing here and putting fire coming out and all that. And more than anything, I was looking at Baba's face. Baba is, his son has brought him to a 5-star hotel and dinner, and the chef with that thing is the fire happening. And Baba had this smile on his face. Then the chef served him. And then I'm looking at Baba's face. I have it, Baba has it. And the chef says, how was it, sir? Baba said, it's all right. I said, Baba, he means it's very good. Baba, it's very good. Yeah, it's all right. Now, that is something which is very, very difficult. We all go into excess and then we can't handle it. And few of us can manage that middle path. And I think it's very, very, very difficult, especially when you are in the public eye. Because at all points, there is somebody who's looking up to you and their eyes are glowing. And at some point, you end up playing the role they want you to play. And that's farthest away from your reality. I remember when my father was in Mulchand Hospital years back, he had a heart attack. That time was not of a time of selfie, it was a time of autographs. And I used to go there at night from Mumbai, be there with him and come back. And as I was moving from one place to some to get blood, somebody stopped me and insisted that I give an autograph. It was a surreal moment. I asked him, I said, do you care that why I'm here? He said, why? I said, my father is in the ICU. And he said, yes, sir, quickly give me an autograph. So what I got was that guy was not heartless. That's how we are with each other. Dil pe mat le yaar. And that is one of the greatest learnings that I've gotten, Pragya. That hum log, we want life to be fair for us. We want people to care for us. You know of Ranjit Gaikwad? Ranjit Gaikwad, you don't know. How heartless. There would be somebody called Ranjit Gaikwad. And you don't know of him. So that's a bit like that. And try asking somebody, that person doesn't even care. We don't care for the world, but we want the world to care for us. And that is the huge trap that we celebrities fall into. And therefore, for me, my cue is that whatever people say, they are saying that to Reba and Govind's son. And that's, at 54, that's all that I manage.
Wow. Time really flies when one is talking to you. But I believe we have about 10, 12 more minutes. Okay. And there's a long way to go. So here's what I'm going to ask you. You've learned from success. You have learned from defeat. You have kept, eventually, a good relationship with both these things in life. You have remained a lifelong student and a traveler. What I want to ask you is that what out of this has most led you to constantly reinvent yourself? You went on to do films in every possible language, and that sounds easy, but it can't possibly be easy. Acting is words. You're a Dubey student, and here you're talking in a language you didn't grow up talking, so on and so forth. You never lost touch with theater, right? And you did so many different things. What is it that kept fueling that reinvention?
So one thing is very, very clear, and I think I speak for each one of us. The only person who is committed to our dreams is the person who's sitting in your seat. Isn't it true? And that's something which I got much early. Because Hindi में एक शब्द है, उसको कहते हैं जिद्दी. You know what जिद्दी? So I think each one of us is that's something that you don't depend on the world to believe in your dreams. And for me, I have perpetually been a traveler. So I had always a choice. Either I feel very sad for myself. And trust me, each one of us gets plenty of reasons to feel sad for themselves. But since I was an only child and then my parents were too old, I had no one to crib to. You need somebody to crib to when you say, well, life is so bad. But there's nobody around to listen to you. Your parents are very old. So I very luckily never had people that I could crib to. So I actually took charge. And the other thing that I realized is that our life is longer than our career. So I was clear that I'm going to reinvent myself. And I really have aspirations and dreams far wider than what people would say. So the career is over, but the life is going on here. So for me, in the late 90s, I started working in languages other than Hindi, and over the now about 27-year career, I've worked in over 240 films in 11 languages. And then over the last 6 years, apart from working in films, I also started sharing conversations about life with people. So that's how Avid Miner got formed. And, we do workshops and conversations with organizations and groups of people. Now that's therapeutic for me, Pragya. I managed to share with people simple tenets what I have gone through. So one of the key things that we have to get is that none of us are masters, you know. I still remember, that episode that when brought up, by a Bengali mother, amazingly protective Bengali mother, and a Malayali father, lovingly kept at home. But the moment I would step out in Delhi, people in Delhi are very, Delhi people are very frank, unlike you guys. Anyone from Delhi here? How many? Okay, 5 of you don't talk to me. So Delhi, if you notice, I mean, if you're from Delhi, you will notice that the skin tan that I have, very few of them there. So Ma Baba used to call me Ashish and Betu. But the moment I stepped out, people still called me. But they used to call me, oh, Kalu. No, it's okay, you can laugh, that's okay. You fair people, you may laugh. Kalu is not even black, it's blacky. And now remember, this is in the 80s where there was zero political correctness, there was no need for people to be correct. There was no social media where you could lampoon anybody, nothing. People used to just call you Kalu. In fact, I had one classmate who didn't call me Kalu. He used to call me Jallad, which means hangman. And obviously there was a reference, I would imagine, a reference to my color. But growing up in that milieu where you realize that people are calling you that, so in fact, I went down to a mother of my friend, and mothers are very caring. Their heart really goes out for you. And I was sitting with auntie, and auntie was giving me food. I love food always. I was eating food, and then I took this moment and I said, auntie, wo mujhe na Kalu bolta hai. Very lovingly, she did this and she said, beta wo to tu hai. Yeah, laugh, Pragya. No, go on, it's okay. Look, these are the kind of people.
I'm from Delhi,
Now,
Ashish.
look, yeah. Nina's laughing. They're all fair people. So he's saying, no, that you are. Now, what I want you to really get is that at that point, somewhere now, I may not have been able to articulate it, then I was really hurt. But I got that they will all not be rooting for me if I want to achieve something. And it's not that life is fair or unfair. Life is just like it is. And so therefore, that's what I do. The last 6 years, my dear friend Jagan is here, and I know him from 94 that I came here, and he's seen me through some amazingly pathetic times when I was doing amazing number of films and getting drunk at night. And really unhappy and angry and very well known and angry. And he would take me home after, evenings when, I'm sorry I'm kind of opening up with you. I would love to, but what I'm saying is that it's the fear, it's the hatred towards yourself. It's feeling that if only I can do a little bit more. It's that when you're continuously comparing yourself with one another. And somewhere for me, thanks to these extraordinary friends that I had, I saved myself. Otherwise I wouldn't have been alive. And I snapped myself out of my self-pity. And I started more and more surrounding myself with people who were my friends, who had nothing to do with my profession. And that was really a moment when I started being inspired by the simplicity around me. And that's the journey that I am in. I have such incredible friends. And just to let you know, my son would have attended probably 2 shootings over these many years. He's 18 now. Yeah. And he sometimes will say, yeah, my friend says he watched a film of yours. I say, oh, great, thanks. That's it. He doesn't even know my film act of people that I've act with. What it does is that it just allows us to remain normal people. People like each one of us who are known just because we do that work, but we don't bring that home. And seriously, I'm not joking, my friends. Being a celebrity is a very, very lonely thing. And I don't wish that on anyone. I really wish each one of us become extraordinarily successful and rich and yet not be a celebrity.
You know, Ashish, I have so many more questions, and I think we've almost run out of time, but I'm going to take the liberty of asking you one final question. You gave us a glimpse into what made you want to share some of the introspection that you've been doing through the years, which is extraordinary wealth that you're actually sharing with people through your motivational speeches, through workshops, and so on and so forth. What I'm curious about is, why is it important for all of us to know and tell our own stories? Whether we tell them or not, actually. First, just know our own stories. What is the power of the story? Because I think that links up acting, writing, photography, and every single thing you do.
Oh, I get goosebumps when you know what? Each one of us is extraordinarily unique. Have you heard that you know how you reduce the size of a line without touching it? You all heard that, right? But drawing a longer line. The fact is that each one of us is continuously doing that. We look at others and then we reduce ourselves. And I really felt that this one life, really one life. And if in this one life, if we can make our family, the people that we are with, ourselves, people that we are in touch with, if we can bring a smile to their face, wow, won't that be amazing? And in that, the only thing that I talk about is that each one of our stories is unique. And that unique story, only our hunger can keep it alive. And if we really say that, you know, there is a reason that I'm alive, there is a reason that I'm born, then let us not be trapped by what they said we are. Because each one of us is an also mother, sister, brother, father, businessman, technocrat, designer, thinker, traveler, naughty friend, photographer, I don't know what. And if we have that freedom, then we are not bound by what they think I should be, or more importantly, what I think I should be. And in this extraordinary life, when we add our unique flavor to it, trust me, we inspire others to also be unique, rather than to be like. And therefore I make this fierce distinction between aspiring for and being inspired by. For me, aspiring for is, you know, that what an amazing car that person has and what an amazing business that person has. I want to have that car. I want to have that business. Inspiration for me is, what an amazing restaurant that person is running. I'm going to open my yoga institute. Can I be inspired by somebody fulfilling their dreams and go about fulfilling my dreams? And isn't it true for each one of us? Each one of us has extraordinary dreams. And I'll just finish with this one very interesting thing. And Pragya, I think I did speak to you about this. Have there been times that you've been just, you know, you had this look on your face and somebody just called and says, hey Ashish, and say, yeah, hi, are we ready? Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's do it. Have you got the email? Yeah, have you done this? And then you suddenly ask me, so what were you thinking? I say, nothing, nothing. Have you all gone through such phases? Yeah. You know what we are thinking of? We are thinking of something that brought a smile to our face. It didn't make us small. It didn't make us scared. We had a smile on that face. And then life called and we said, yeah, I'm just there. Yeah, Nina, yeah, I'm ready for it. Yeah, I'm coming. Yeah, no, let's go. Yeah. We become professional. What really inspires me is that when each one of us knows that dream that brings that look to our face, each one of us can help each other to fulfill that dream. And that's the business that I am in now.
Thank you, Ashish. Pleasure, honor, as usual, if Ashish hasn't inspired you to dream your own dream tonight, then I don't know what is wrong with you. Thank you
And
very much
I
for
just one
listening
more
to
thing
us.
before you. I really think that what an extraordinary gathering this is, Nina. Nina, you brought me to my city of my love. You know, Hyderabad has been so dear to me. You know, you've added such an amazing part to my life. And I'm so glad that Algebra is here. Algebra, which brings a plethora of ideas and thoughts and people. So I'm so happy to be here in my lovely Hyderabad city. Thank you so much for each one of you for being here.